Here we have two clays we will use today. On the right you see Das, regular air drying clay, and here is the usual suspect I'm using. And here we have materials I will use to try both of those clays. This video is not only about Das clay against the clay I'm using, but it's also to test all the materials we can do it on. Because normally when I'm building my houses, I'm using medium to thick cardboard as a underlayer on which I'm putting the clay. And here I thought it would be also nice to try other materials and see how Das clay and clay I'm using behaves on top of those materials. So here we have it. As you can see, I speeded up the video in the background so I can explain all the processes. First of all, I want to make all the pieces quite equal size so we can compare it in a reasonable way. In one of the sides, I've decided to go with this kind of chipped off effect of plaster on top of the wood on each of pieces, so we can also try to see how it will behave in that way. And now we're starting with gluing clay on top of the pre-prepared pieces. I'm using my regular technique. And then I'm repeating this process also through the dust clay. It feels a little different, it's much more smooth, but I'm doing the same. I'm just adding clay first to all the pieces, then going back and smoothing them out, texturing, smoothing one more time, adding the cracks, and that's kind of the process I'm going through here. And now we would look on the end result. Here we're having clay I'm using on a foam core. I mean, it looks quite okay. There are some extra cracks not only made by me. Now we're having another piece that is regular polystyrene. As you can see, the cracks I made are a little more pronounced. Still looks okay, but no extra cracking, only the cracks I made by hand. Next we're having a plastic card. The same situation as with the polystyrene. I mean, there are some really small extra cracks, but most of the time it's only the stuff I made by hand. Still is okay, but not to the end to think we are going for here. Another piece looks a little better. Some extra cracking here, made by the clay itself while drying. I think that was MDF, so it's a little better. Okay, some extra cracking. This one looked quite good. Yeah, this is much closer. Oh yeah, and that's thin cardboard. Yeah, that looks as it should, as I expected it to be. Next we're having a thick cardboard. Also some extra cracking, not a lot, not that pronounced, but as you can see in the middle there are some extra lines. And here we're having a foam board. I mean, I'm a little surprised that we have at all any cracking here, but it's really small, as you can see. A little in the middle there was some extra cracking. Okay, and now we're going to the dust clay. As you can see, texture is totally different. There is no extra crackling. I mean, not at all. Even in the corners, the clay is not shrinking at all. And the marks I made by hand, I mean, are just not as clear as with the clay I'm using. I mean, in general, there is no difference whatsoever with the dust clay. Everything looks the same. There are really minimal changes that you basically can see from the distance. Maybe when you will take it up close, really close, then you can see something, but it's so settled that you shouldn't consider it as something different. So that's quite interesting. Okay, now we will compare both pieces together. On the left side you have the clay I'm using, on the right side you have dust clay. I mean, the difference is really, really big. I think there are a few things I didn't expect. First of all, dust clay behaves quite different than a clay I'm using normally. It behaves much better in general as a clay. It's not shrinking, it's not cracking, it's drying much faster. It looks like superior product, but in this case that's not a positive thing. I think there's no other option than try one more time only with dust clay and see if I can replicate in any way with different technique, different approach, different ways of putting the clay on, gluing it on, or whatever. Just try one more time, focus only on the dust and see if I can pull it off. So basically round 1 victory for clay I'm using, but that doesn't mean that we can't use dust clay at all. As I said, I will work on it and I will show you the results in another video. It will be really nice if you could give me some suggestions about another clays I could use, because something maybe more regional or something I just didn't think about. It will be really nice just to compare different clays and see how they will behave. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was interesting for you.